Hodge, who I've known back when he was like 17 years old, was the head coach at Paris Junior College and was a hell of a coach there, is now the new coach at North Texas in Denton. Ross, great to have you on the show. David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and also Craig Smoke. What does this opportunity mean to you?
Oh, man. It means that I've been around some really, really good people through the years, and I've coached some really good players, and I've had so many people invest in me, and it feels like an accumulation of all those things, and it's I couldn't be more humbled and more excited at the same time.
You know, modern roster turnover notwithstanding, you being able to step in knowing this team already, coming off an NIT championship, which is great momentum going into the offseason. How much does that help just the team and you overall that you guys have this momentum and know each other so well?
Yeah, I think it's one of the biggest factors in success in the following year in today's basketball transfer portal era, that if you can hang on to core components of your team, in particular players with championship experience, you're set up to have success the next year. Obviously, you got to go get some more good players, and they have to be integrated into it. But when you have players like Reuben Jones, who's won 3 championships, and Aaron Scott's won 2, and Matt Stone's won 2, and now some of these other guys have their first and second championships. It definitely gives you a little bit of peace that at least you don't have to explain to a locker room what it takes to win, that those guys have a baseline understanding and they want to keep doing it.
Can you explain to us what that ride to an NIT championship was like to be a part of, and what that meant for North Texas, the basketball program, and just Denton at large?
Man, it was, honestly, starting with the Alcorn State game, that's always the hardest game, in my opinion. I've actually been in 3 NITs. That's the hardest game, to scrape yourself off the mat, with a broken heart that you're not going to be participating in the NCAA tournament, and get the joy and the excitement in the willingness to invest back in that Alcorn State game. We and they were good. That's the other thing. Anybody you're playing in the NIT, they're good. I don't care what league they're in. They were a champion, and we respected them. And then that Sam Houston State game, we got a little more momentum and started making, we shot maybe like 16 threes in that game. And then the schedule comes out, and a day later you got to go to Stillwater. And that's really when it started turning into, like a movie script, and you're in Stillwater, and, you're taking guys like Matt Stone and Tyler Perry, who are Oklahoma kids, and they're back playing close to home, and you win that game, and you're going to Vegas, and now you're playing Wisconsin in the semifinals, and you get down early and you fight back and hold them scoreless for the last 10 minutes, and then you find yourself in the championship game playing a team for the 4th time that just beat you in the conference tournament. And it was at that point you're kind of like, man, this is crazy. Like this doesn't even make sense anymore. And for those guys to find a way to get to the finish line and win the last game of a season on a national stage in front of a national audience, man, I couldn't have been more happy for our players and our university and this community. And it's been awesome to see the billboards up and down 35 celebrating our guys, and it's been one heck of a ride.
For those that don't know, Ross Hodge was the head coach at Paris for 3 years, Midland for a couple of years. His coaching record, not including what he's done and what staffs he's been on, including this one with North Texas and Grant McCaslin, his head coaching record is 144-24 at the junior college level, and I used to cover him when he was at Paris Junior College when I did broadcast for Tyler Junior College. Were you on the staff with Bill Foy?
Yeah, I played for Coach Foy. I played for Coach Foy for 3 years, actually, redshirted, and then played 2 years. and then came back the year after they won the national championship. I came back for 1 year. And Coach Foy came to North Texas, which shocked everybody. He had been at Paris for 10 years. And he got this job. And Jim Moffitt, Dr. Moffitt, another UNT guy, believed in me probably when I didn't even believe in myself at that point. Didn't even really fully comprehend the magnitude of what was going on, and he gave me the opportunity to be the coach at Paris when I was 25 years old. And it was like I said, looking back on it now, I know how crazy it was. At the time, you're just kind of going through it, you know. But it was the opportunity of a lifetime, and it certainly changed my life.
Okay, your record 144 and 24, right,
Yeah.
Smokey?
Yeah.
So do you know more details about the 144 or the 24?
Oh, the 24, without even doubt, with no doubt. I can tell you details on just about all 24, you know, and Smokey was talking about Tyler, and I remember when we went over there and they had Jimmy Butler and Joseph Fultz.
Oh.
We tipped in a shot at the buzzer to send it into overtime, but it got waved off, and it was the right call. And so I remember that one. Yeah, man, I remember a lot of those losses. Remember the national championship loss when we were at Midland. We got beat by CSI. And then, to be honest, probably the most painful loss I ever had was in the regional final my last year at Paris. We got beat by Navarro and Johnny Estelle in double overtime, and we had a lead late in regulation. We couldn't hold on. We had a late lead in the first overtime and couldn't hold on. And, yeah, man, vividly, I still remember them.
Coach, I'm sure you've had, lots of people who have influenced you over the years, but here most recently, Grant McCaslin obviously getting the big opportunity and leading to your big opportunity. But as he moves on, what are maybe some of the things, one or two, or however many you want to list off that are lessons or just things in general that are going to stick with you from your time coaching with each other?
When you talk about Coach Mack, you got to start with the person. And he talks it and he walks it, and his faith is very important to him. And I've always had so much respect for him in that manner. He's an incredible father, a great husband, brother, son, and he is a really good friend of mine. And I will miss him. And from the basketball standpoint, he's as good as it gets. And he knows what he's doing. He knows how to put a group together. He's great X's and O's. But his biggest strength as a coach is his belief in a locker room and his belief in his players that they can do things that other people would tell them maybe they can't do. And if you look at our 7 years here, it was littered with first time this, first time that, first time winning here, first time winning there, first time doing this. And he wasn't afraid to say it when we weren't doing it. It's easy to say it now when you've won 4 championships in 4 years. Well, that's the expectation. But he was saying that prior. And his belief in his staff and his belief in his players and belief that as a group we could figure out how to win games was really something that I want to take with me for the rest of my life.
Ross, are you a defensive genius?
No, no. We've been extremely fortunate to have a group of players that are completely bought in to the idea that this is how we have to win basketball games. And they, if you look at our road record the last 2 years, I believe we have the best road winning percentage in all of college basketball. And if you don't have a deep commitment to defending and rebounding and playing with a certain level of physicality, you never get the opportunity to do that. And I remind our players all the time of that. I'm extremely grateful. We all were extremely grateful that they let us coach them that they let us speak truth into their lives, and they wanted it. Because it really doesn't matter how good of a coach you are or how much you may know or how much you may not know. If the group that you're speaking to does not want to receive that information, you won't get the result. And our players have been incredible over the stretch of this last 4 or 5 years, and their willingness to be coached, wanting to be coached. And that's the reason why they're champions.
Obviously, there was smoke about Grant and Texas Tech once they made the decision with Mark Adams. And my question, and obviously, we had Grant on, I guess, right before the championship game. Everyone handled that very well, knowing that it was out there. How difficult was that, or was that pretty simple?
You know what? It wasn't difficult at all. And I had coaching friends that would ask me the same thing. And I would tell them the only thing that's weird about it is it ain't weird. It's like weirdly unweird. It's the most normal. It was I know there was so much noise outside of our program, but inside our program, starting with Coach Mack, the rest of our staff, our players, man, we were having so much fun, and we were so committed to the moment, and we were enjoying film sessions and late night snack sessions and shoot arounds and preparing and getting to play on these stages. And really it wasn't as much noise as there was externally. Internally, there was such a calm and such a peace and such a joy for doing what we love to do and doing it with people that we love doing it with. It was awesome.
Obviously, the conference had a great run with Florida Atlantic and just a shot away from getting to the championship game with what you did, UAB did, and the other tournament as well. How much does that give fuel to North Texas and other schools that, in this day and age, I mean, Cinderella used to just be the first weekend, and it seems like Cinderella can live and that glass slipper can almost go all the way to the last weekend.
Yeah, with the transfer portal, like I said, man, if you're able to keep a core group of your team together, which is what FAU was able to do, you will have a distinct advantage moving forward. And I think we all drew inspiration off of each other. I know personally I did. I know the coaches at FAU, and I know they were watching us and pulling for each other and what Charlotte did in the CBI. And I think you see those things, and even as a player, you realize, like, man, like, we are good, and FAU is good, and UAB is good, and this league was good, and we can go beat these teams. And I think more than ever, it will not be long before someone wins a national championship that people outside of whatever locker room it is, hopefully ours, thinks that, oh, they could never win a national championship. It will be soon. It will be soon.
Final thing, you mentioned Jimmy Butler. That's where you cut your teeth, as you said, in that conference as an assistant, as a player. And you mentioned physicality. You mentioned defense. Isn't that kind of what that conference was like?
Yeah, I mean, it was. You remember?
Oh yeah.
Watching those games, and man, the level of players and Hall of Fame coaches. I mean, Scott Jernander, Coach Marquis, Coach Foy, Johnny Estelle, Lewis Orr,
Scott Schumacher,
Guy Davis, the Lon Morris crew,
Dale Dotson,
Roy Champagne.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys could coach, and they were coaching players that were going on to high level places, and it was back in the day, it was a 22 game conference schedule, as you remember, and it was a grind, man. And I'll never forget when I first went to work for Larry Eustace at Southern Miss. We were talking basketball, and I made a reference like, well, I know that was junior college. And he stopped me and he said, Ross, he's like, there is no difference between junior college, Division II, Division I. He was like, basketball is basketball. And that always stuck with me, you know, and I have such a healthy respect for all coaches of all levels across the board.
Great conference, great players, great coaches. Leon Spencer at Trinity Valley for the longest of time, Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I forgot about Pat Smith at Jacksonville.
Pat Smith, Lewis
before he was
Orr
at Trinity Valley.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah. Golly, it was fun. Ross, I'm proud of you. Great to have a chance to visit with you. Congratulations on what you're going to do, what you've done. Good luck with North Texas, and thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.
Ross Hodge, the new head coach at North Texas. Grant McCaslin at